All right, I think we can start the meeting.
We're all here.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda, Jim?
Yeah, one addition that went out in the email today, I hope everyone received, was the SMTC financials. They were not ready at the time of the mailing, but they were ready this morning. I sent them out on an email. Hopefully you all got them in time for today's meeting.
Yep, I received them. Okay, approval of the minutes from December 10th. Hopefully you've had a chance to review the minutes. Does anybody have any additions or changes to the minutes?
I'll move it.
A motion from Brian. Can I have a second?
Second it.
Okay, Becky Voss. Sorry, Marty.
You're better with me here than her. You ask a lot more questions.
Second from Marty. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Communications and reports, the financial statements, which Jim sent out this morning.
Yep, the financials went out this morning. I got to say, this is the most uneventful financials we've had. There's zero consulting payments. We had no outside vendor payments of note. On this particular cycle, it was our standard run-of-the-mill expenses for the month. A few IT items on there for purchases as part of the whole upgrading of all our IT infrastructure, which is causing my budget to go a little over budget than originally anticipated. But other than that, very standard financials for the month. I can get into the over budget item when we come later on the agenda for the UPWP Amendment. I'll go into detail as to what occurred and how we're going to compensate for that.
Okay. Sounds good. Any questions on the financials? All right, we'll move along to the UPWP status report.
I'm just going to highlight a couple of things here. If I missed something of note to you, please do not hesitate to ask. Under general administration, we are in the middle of the IT migration. We're actually past the midpoint of the IT migration on our way to cloud services. I expect to be fully moved over into February, by the end of February, and it'll be a couple of days of bumpiness, getting everyone trained and learning how to do a new system, but it's going to be very valuable. We'll have a lot of, all of our files will be stored in the cloud, except for some things that will have to remain on site here. And for those, there'll be a full virtual private network for everyone to be able to connect to remotely for security. And our email server has already migrated to the cloud, and that is working flawlessly. So that's going really good. I've upgraded several staff's desktops and laptops to make sure that we're ready to prepare for it when it occurs. I'll work with David upstairs in the coming weeks to make sure that his staff is ready to go as well. And we'll make sure that we're all ready to make this transition in February. In terms of public participation and response to some comments from Federal Transit and Federal Highway, we are launching 3 new public involvement initiatives. Basically forums, an active transportation forum, which is really a jazzed up bicycle and pedestrian involvement group, an access to jobs group, and a regional vehicular mobility group. These will be full open public forums that we're going to try and run generally by invitation or registration, with the idea to try and gain more public involvement in what we're doing. And we've also been updating our website and our YouTube channel. In terms of legislation, I'm sure you all are aware, there's a continuing resolution that was signed that's going to give us continuity of funding for transportation as well as other essential government activities. Additionally, a COVID-19 relief funding has occurred. The exact details of how all that funding is going to whittle down to the smaller levels like us is still being worked out. We're still trying to find out some of the details in terms of individual impact here. But I can say with certainty, Centro will be getting more money as part of the COVID-19 relief, like they did last time. They made out pretty well last time. I know that was very helpful and leveraged that money nicely. I hope they're able to again. So that's good. Looking forward to those details coming out. I'll learn more this Friday. I'm going to have a detailed call on how some of that's going to trickle down for us in terms of transportation obligations going forward. For data collection, we're processing the data that was collected over the summertime and getting that ready for public consumption over our website. For the UPWP, a draft UPWP for the next program year that begins April 1st was presented at the Planning Committee last month. So they approved that it be presented to the Policy Committee which is scheduled for January 20th. Just a reminder, because most of you or many of you sit on that committee as well. So there's a policy committee scheduled for January 20th, later this month. For geographic information systems, we're continuing to work in support of the county's Empire State Trail project. We're also working on how to best leverage some of the New York State crash data in terms for GIS linkages and how to visually represent that. And we're creating and more updating a GIS database for truck signs and truck routes that is a bit or very outdated, I guess, to try and make sure it's more up to date and usable. That bike and ped forum that I mentioned, we're looking to kick that off in the next couple of weeks. So there'll be next time we get together, hopefully I'll be able to give an update on how that went. MPO area initiatives, we're continuing to work with SACPA on generating cost estimates for the Empire State Trail Economic Opportunities Plan, as well as some graphic enhancements. We haven't really made the progress I'd like to see make on the joint TMC co-location. That kind of has taken a back burner for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is our federal partners were less than helpful when we tried to involve them. So we're reconvening and relaunching that process again. For the dome traffic management and event strategic plan, we actually have a contract out to Stantec to review and sign. Expect to get that back in the next week or so and have that project fully engaged in February. And we've programmed into there an appropriate break as this committee requested into the contract. And Stantec understands that that break time can be extended or condensed based on the needs going forward. And they understand that that pause might be longer than they desire if necessary, and they're okay with that, or that it might be shrunk if the state is able to move it forward faster and we want to accelerate it. They've been incredibly flexible with that. They just are very happy to be selected for this project, as I assumed they would be. A couple of corridor study updates. The Tuscarora Road study in Chittenango, that's moving along nicely. We developed an online community survey tool for public input for people around that corridor. And Mario, how many people participated in that survey so far?
So far, we're about 140 or so, which is excellent.
It's
far
excellent.
above and beyond what myself and Aaron McKeon were anticipating.
Which is crazy because we can't get that many people to participate in things that are not to diss this project, but are actually important. This is a small little corridor study, and the village is very involved in it. So that's great to see. That project is moving along nicely. Route 11 corridor study that's moved down into the Mattingdale area. That's actually moving ahead of schedule, so that's moving good. The Village of Skaneateles pedestrian safety and access study is moving along nicely. That'll be done in the next 6 to 9 months. The related town of Skaneateles technical memorandum is being wrapped up as well. I believe that my staff person has reached out to you, Dan, for any input you might have on that item for the town. And if you have anything left to say on that, please communicate that in as short a time as possible. The Manlius Village Center pedestrian safety and mobility effort is underway. We've had some meetings and we're moving ahead with that. David, I'll have you know that Caitlin is a study advisory committee representative for Manlius on that. I knew that you'd be happy to hear that. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Very active in her community.
Syracuse sidewalk planning study. We are doing some prep because we're going to be, as soon as spring hits, we're going to be relaunching that massive data collection on behalf of the city of Syracuse to continue our GPS sidewalk data collection efforts for the city. The city of Syracuse safety assessment is well underway and is on target for completion in the coming program year. I gave you an update on the dome study. In terms of the transportation improvement program, we're trying to stay on top of project momentum with the idea that we don't let everything bunch up towards the end of the year. That was a big topic we had at our last capital projects committee. We'll be having another capital projects committee probably later this month or middle of February, somewhere in that time frame, to retouch base with everybody, make sure everything's moving along so that we're not all surprised at the end of the year. We're having to do things on a tight schedule. So, any questions on any projects I didn't talk about, or if you need any more detail on anything, please ask.
Hey, Jim, you had mentioned something that I hadn't heard about, and about establishing a committee for access to jobs.
Yes.
And is that more focused on getting people to jobs, or is it aligned with all of the discussions going on with apprenticeships, traineeships, Build Syracuse?
No, it's aligned with connecting people who might not have access to their own vehicles or transit routes that are married to their current employment schedule or locations, with how to connect that. We did a project a couple of years ago on identifying the problem and identifying some solutions. And there's been a request from some people that we keep that momentum moving and keep the discussion going to make sure that we're fully aware of what is going on in the community, what the community would like to see happen, and what possibilities out there are for funding for bridging some of these gaps. I mean, there are some programs out there for first-time low-cost car purchases. There's programs out there for van pool services that are being launched. I know the casino down the Thruway, Del Lago, was trying to, right before the world went to hell, was launching a van pool to try and move people from Onondaga County area to Del Lago on a daily basis to provide service employees to them that they were in need of. I'm not sure about how that stands now, but there's a lot of items dangling out there. We're trying to make sure that everyone's aware of all the things that are happening and all the possible funding sources, because we know that transportation can be a barrier for some people to employment, and we're trying to do what we can to bridge that barrier.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
That's all I got.
Okay, any questions on the UPWP? No. Okay, no old business. So new business, we'll do the UPWP amendment.
Yeah, the way that we're structured, my annual work program can be amended at the executive committee for up to 10% of the total value at a time. I'm not looking for that. I'm only looking for approximately a little less than 4%, or approximately 4% adjustment. I'm looking to program unspent monies that were unspent last year and roll them over into this year. I didn't think I would need them when I made the program last year, but we have obviously some things occurred that no one planned for. And we've incurred some additional costs, some products we've had to purchase, equipment we've had to buy, a network and IT migration that we're in the middle of, just a bunch of additional costs. The salary line items, the personnel costs are right on target where they need to be. And it's just the additional costs of equipment and IT equipment and other associated costs from the situation that has run overboard. Total increase for the cost is about $53,000 is what I'm looking to add to the budget. I'm running about 2 to 3% over budget right now, so I'm looking to add this 4% into the budget. That should be enough, assuming the costs don't increase any more than that for the remainder of the program year. As you know, my financials are a couple months behind where I'm actually at, so I can't say for certain that that'll be enough to leave us in the black for the year. It's my expectation that it will be. I'm going to work hard to make sure that it is. I'll coordinate with Pat Wortley on the financial end to see if there's anything I can do to make sure that happens. I do not want to finish off the year in the red, because that creates more paperwork for everybody than I like to see. So this should be enough to make sure that we finish the year in the black.
What does that leave for a balance of our carryover funds?
Zero.
Zero.
We had nothing except for the stuff that the monies that I didn't spend last year. I had a little bit of unprogrammed money last year, and that's all that I'm rolling over into this year. I'm talking about rolling over the unspent money from last year into this year. We've been pretty much operating on a 100% expenditure budget for several years in a row now, where we program and expend all of our resources on a year-to-year basis to maximize the products we can give our member agencies and the amount of work we can put on a throughput. That does leave an issue in case there's ever significant cuts or anything, but in terms of finances. But we'll deal with that if that occurs. I have some already thought up for ID contingency plans and how to handle that if it ever does occur. But we are. My budget as written anticipated, cost increases, salary increases, retirement cost increases. So that's all been factored into the budget already. The only thing that wasn't factored in was these additional expenses that were unplanned for.
When do you find out if your budget, when your budget is secure, I guess?
Oh, secure? My budget for this coming year is secure. I know that. The only thing that could happen is it has the possibility of going up with, I would think, with if there's a significantly new transportation bill. Other than that, I have no worry about this coming year's budget in terms of its security. Of all the things I'm worried about at the federal level, that's not on the list.
Okay.
There's lots of other things to worry about in Washington.
Amen.
That's not one of them.
Okay. You're lucky.
Yes.
All right, anybody have any questions on the UPWP amendment? Can I have a motion to approve the amendment? David, second.
Brian?
Brian, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And Mary, just like the tip amendments, I will need that signed copy of that one returned to you because I need to get that one to Albany so that my budget can be fixed on their end.
All right. Is that? Do I have that? I'll
Went
touch
out.
base with
Yeah.
base with you if I don't.
It went out in the digital packet as well as the hard copy packet, but if you need it resent to you, Mario, or I can resend that to you.
Okay, I'll let you know. And next we have the tip amendments.
We have 3 tip amendments. They're all New York State DOT. Okay, the first is Route 31, ADA sidewalk and pedestrian safety. Proposing to increase the right-of-way acquisition in fiscal year 2021 by $40,000 in flex, and construction and inspection phases in 21-22 by $40,000 flex and $4,000 flex respectively. This is going to address curb ramps along Route 31 from Taft Road to Bear Road. The offset is provided by 2 projects, the Route 92 and 73 paving project and the Parkway project, which has been used as an offset for every project I think DOT has on their program at this point. Second tip amendment is the Route 481 maintenance by contract west of I-81 bridges to the south of County Route 57. DOT is proposing to increase the construction and inspection phases for 2021 by $800,000 NHPP and $80,000 NHPP to account for the installation of median guide rail and meet new design standards. This is coming from the fund sources coming from the Route 5 maintenance by contract. That's the next tip amendment below. So that's the third one is the Route 5 maintenance by contract Bridge Street to Route 92 in the town of DeWitt for New York State DOT. There's been, it's kind of two items in one. There was a cost savings on one end. And then additionally, then that's what's providing the offset for the previous project. And additionally, they're rolling $500,000 of HSIP money into this project, which was unfinished pedestrian safety money from projects and intersections were unable to be leveraged in the amount of time necessary to have those projects leveraged. So rather than lose that money, they're rolling that highway safety money into this project. Mark, if I didn't get that correct, please correct me.
No, I think you pretty much hit it, Jim. The 41 MBC, that's the big paving job. I signed the PS&E today. That basically was just to address the guide rail and the median. And we're just moving a little bit of money around to do that. The other project, Marty and I had a conversation about related to the PSAP for the one project. Those are on Onondaga County sites. Marty, I still have not heard from legal on that yet, whether or not what was passed is okay. I'm hoping it is to modify that agreement that we have between the county and the state. And then the last one, the ADA one, Route 11, we didn't expect to get into right away, but once we got the mapping, I realized there were a couple parcels that would have to be acquired to move that project forward. So all legitimate needs, all moving towards construction early next year.
Okay,
They come back with a no, Mark, let me know right away, because that's gonna be an effort to get that on the agenda again.
Okay, I will, Marty.
They just added about 7 more steps to the process for that stuff, so.
any other questions on these 3 tip amendments? We'll do them all as one vote, if that's okay.
Please.
Can I have a motion to approve the 3 tip amendments?
I'll move, Mary.
Brian, Second,
I'll second it, this Mark.
Mark. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, now we have, do I do a motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, you're doing a motion to go into an executive session, then I'll pause the recording. Or stop the
Okay.
recording.
Can I have a
Mary-
motion? Oh,
Mary,
go ahead,
before we
Mark.
do that, I just had one notification. I think it's very good news that I heard about yesterday. We were notified that there was some leftover repurposed earmark money. And I had put in for the Hiawatha Boulevard project. I knew that we were short there and the city had to come up with money. That project was just getting completed construction-wise. So I was notified this yesterday, actually, that they're going to provide $203,000 earmark money for that project, Mary. So
Oh, wow.
that's approved. We'll have to redo an agreement with the city to add that in. We're going to have to do a tip change. There were just multiple projects closed out in and around the city of Syracuse. And one of the projects was an old Salina Street one. One was the connective corridor. And so we just rolled it all right into Hiawatha, recognizing that I think we had more than $500,000 shortfall in that project. Mary.
Yeah, I think it was around 380,000, I believe.
Okay. So that'll be good for the city. You'll be able to get reimbursed for, it's right around 203,000.
Okay, thank you. Thanks
So
for
I'll get
letting me
my-
know.
Yep.
That's great.
Okay, any other business before we go into executive session or updates? Okay, can I have a motion to go into executive session? David? Second, Marty?
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session.
All right. I'm going to